Joining me now from Washington is CBS News Radio correspondent, executive editor Steve Dorsey. He broke the story. Steve, what can you tell us about this particular victim? Did they suffer the same attack that the other U.S. diplomats endured?
Rena, this is the first of the 22 medically confirmed American victims to speak out on these attacks and on the U.S. response to them. This victim tells me that the State Department was too slow to withdraw American diplomats, most of the staff from the embassy in Havana, doing so almost a year after these attacks began in November. We understand from this victim that they were inside their residence when they heard these loud screeching sounds, like an insect or a grinding noise that was very focused, and that they brought these concerns and their health effects to the top leaders of the U.S. Embassy in Havana and to the State Department in Washington, D.C., and they were essentially ignored. And the initial treatment they were offered by the University of Miami was incomplete and cursory. They, along with the other victims, are now getting treatment at the University of Pennsylvania by neurologists there.
So the victim said that their complaints were swept under the rug by the State Department. Has the State Department responded to this?
Of course, the State Department told me for this report that it has taken these incidences seriously from the beginning and that it's getting these victims the best medical care and treatment that they can. But so far, they've declined to answer specific questions about the timeline and facts that we're learning from sources other than the State Department.
I'm just confused, David. How can the State Department justify leaving their personnel on the island after there have been numerous reports of health attacks and these complaints were filed directly with the State Department?
Exactly. That's one of the concerns raised by this victim I spoke to who said it's just not safe for any U.S. diplomats to be at the U.S. Embassy in Havana, considering that the most recent attack was August the 21st. The State Department, for its part, says it's limited the exposure to U.S. diplomats by only keeping essential personnel there. Still, though, there are concerns about their health and safety on that island.
Steve, how do you think this is going to impact relations between Cuba and the Trump administration?
Rena, it's already frayed relations between the two. We've already seen this relationship take a different turn since President Trump took office in January. Now this is threatening to derail what were warm ties between the U.S. and Cuba, especially when it comes to travel. I've spoken to some experts in the travel industry who say, especially colleges that were planning semesters abroad in Cuba, are concerned with this new Cuba travel warning. Not to mention, there are other restrictions that the Trump administration is planning against Cuba, and this could come into play as well.
Steve, remind me again of the timeline here. Were these reports ever reported under the Obama administration?
Well, we understand that these attacks began in late November of last year. So this happened during the tail end of the Obama administration. It's clear that the embassy knew about them, but how far up the ladder to the State Department in Washington, to the White House itself, these attacks and incidences, reports of them made it, is still unclear.
Fascinating reporting. Steve Dorsey coming to us from Washington. Steve, thank you for your time.
Thank you.